One thing I will say is Thunder is very generous with the amount of tubing they give you. I mean, they give you 2 of these. I'm assuming they're probably 30 footers, but you get 2 of them, you know. That's a lot. That's plenty to do what you got to do, you know, which is pretty cool. You know, they give you a nice toolbox, a material kit, and they give you a nice fan, which is pretty awesome. We'll probably end up upgrading this to AC Infinity. Like I said before, all the fans we run are 8-inch, so we get maximum airflow to 6-inch fittings. So you get 3 nice rings, which is pretty cool. So I'm assuming you get an extra ring. So that's nice. Plus, you know, we'll rate how quiet this thing is, but definitely AC Infinity, probably the leaders when it comes to really nice air systems. Han and Guan. Okay, I've heard of them before. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. So here's our fan system. There's the inside. Echo Watt duct fan. There's the model. So 70 watts of power. So that's your specs for your fan. As we can see, it's got a mounting system there. So based on the hole brackets we got here, you're pretty clear at 3.5 on your stud. So you can run this vertical or horizontal, or you can maybe mount this even to a rafter in your garage and then connect it from there. Here's what we got for the fan that came with the Thunder Laser. Now, we're not plugging this into the machine because we're running different machines all at once. So this is actually going to tie into our system. So this is the plug that normally comes with it that goes into the back of the machine. We're not going to use this plug, so we're going to add our own normal plug. We're going to reconfigure or tie in our wires to this. This will be switched at our outlet, so we have this switch here is dedicated to our fan. So when we turn that on, that fan turns on. And then when we flip the switch, turns it off. So that's what we got going there as well. Anything that's plugged into here. What we're gonna do is mount the fan, get a normal plug on there that we can plug into this so that that fan is switched. So that will cut this fan here will come on and that one at the same exact time. The configuration here, you'll go to Lowe's or Home Depot and grab some appliance wire. Grab a good gauge, at least the same as what's coming off here. You're gonna want green to yellow, black to brown, and then white to blue. So that's your setup for this here. And then if you need to, just take a picture of this. That way, if you ever put this plug back on, you'll know exactly how to rewire it. Everything pretty much matches. Blue to blue, brown to brown, and yellow green to yellow green. As you can see here, got a green stripe. So yellow green, all that is exactly the same. But when you're doing appliance wire, it's a little bit different. So green to yellow, and then black to brown, white to blue. Okay, so we got our new plug here and we've cut our wires. So we're gonna go ahead and strip these a little bit, and then we're going to solder them, and then we'll go ahead and add these into the unit and then test it and see how well it's working. So we're just getting a nice even coat all the way around. Dip into our acid flux. Just get a little bit of solder on your iron and just brush it on. This is just going to give us a little bit more of a solid connection, kind of replicating exactly what was already on the Thunder, so that had soldered lines, so we're going to do the same exact thing. So there we go, those are done. Go ahead and just give them a wipe down. And that's it. So there we go, guys. Nice clean little solders. There we go, it's nice and snug. See, we got white to blue, so we're gonna go white here, white to blue, so white to blue. Okay, and then we want black to brown. And make sure you're getting the actual connection and you're not compressing the rubber. That's one thing you don't want to do. And then green to green yellow. See, because you solder the lines, it's going to make this a lot easier. Then you don't have to worry about them unstranding. You don't want to over torque either. So just for now, leave it like this, go and plug it in and see if this is running. So we're going to do that now. So like I said before, this is a switched plug. All right. There it goes. Off. Okay. It's got a little bit of a delay, but then it gets running. It's like it starts up and then it starts to go. It's got some suction. You want to see? It's moving air. So there we go. We're gonna mount this now, get it up and going, and then we should be good. All right, we're all set here. So we've got our main housing in for this fan, and all we need to do now is put the motor back in. Our plug is installed, so we're good there. And then from here, there'll be a clamp with a flexible hose that just kind of curves over and goes straight down to our other system where we'll have a T to the 8-inch fan. And then right here, we'll have another clamp, a flexible hose, a little short run to connect from here to the T. And then this system will be nice and set up. So here's what we got. Fans obviously installed. So we're waiting for one part to finish this off. First thing in the morning, I'm gonna go get the other metal tubing to finish that run. And then we're good to go. Anybody wanting to set up a laser engraving shop, what I'm learning is that the ducting is the most expensive part of it. It really is. It's absolutely insane, like how much, you know, the ducting pieces are. When these things are 18, 19, 20 bucks a pop, you know, it gets crazy. If you've got multiple machines, that's where it gets, you know, a little more pricey. But most importantly, it's trying to figure out, where am I gonna vent this stuff? For me, I prefer it going up into the air versus going towards my neighbor's yard. You know, I don't want to do that. I've never really smelled any issues with it going up and out. If you guys are liking the video so far and what you're getting out of this, you know, like, subscribe, definitely like these videos. It definitely helps the channel when you do that. So to prepare our brackets for the wall and to be able to get our mounts mounted, so these were the screws that came with it. They're about 3/8. So here we're using an 11/16 long bit, and we're using an adapter. So we're using our thinner set up here with a torque, with an impact wrench. And what we're gonna do is we can get this right through the hole. So this is basically how this setup is these go on the outside there. These these all get bolted together on both sides, and this goes directly to your wall. And you'll have a nice little gap about 1 inch away from your wall, maybe more, which is kind of nice. So what I do first is I assemble these together. So I put this on both sides. So do like so. Get it on both sides, and then what you can do is screw them in. So put your nuts and your bolts in. Screw these two together, make them pretty snug, and then now you've got your holes where you need them. You would put this up against your wall where your stud is, locate your studs, and then you're going to trace the hole on the inside of your bracket that's on your wall. So that way when you put this up to mount it, it's going to mount up perfectly and you shouldn't have any problems thereafter. So that's what we're going to do now, is get these up on the wall. I've got one in already, but we're going to show you the process. So basically what we're doing here on this is putting our bolts inside first, and then this comes in, we connect, and then basically there's your setup there. And then you're going to use an impact to get this into the wall. But don't go all the way in. Leave a little bit of a gap so that you've got room to put these on, and they're not going to be so tight that you can't get these on. So we're leaving a little wiggle room so we have some adjustment to put these on with the ventilation system, with the ducting, and then we're good to go. So, all right, so we've located our stud right here. We've already mounted our bracket. As you can see, I've got some wiggle room in here. Now we got to remember, your plate is downward and then these are going upward. So we want to put that in there and kind of guide it a little bit. Impact is going to be your best bet. Make sure you've got an impact. Back out to see where you're at. Out. So this is the idea of what we want. That way when we are ready to go, these will hit here. And because these have wiggle room, we've got perfect adjustment. So when you're getting ready to put your ducting on, it's basically going to go like this. And then you put your other bolt in, and then you're good. This is truly the best solution to hanging your system on a wall that you can get, and it looks nice and clean, and it just looks nice and suspended on your wall. And then from there, if you decide, hey, I want to paint it, you can paint it. You can just, put some paper in the back end of your wall and just paint your whole system, and then it's good to go. So very cool stuff. So bracket one up. Now we'll get our second one. All right, you guys, nice and solid. We've got our clamps in place. Everything is tightened down. We've got our ducting, flexible hosing on, clamped together. Everything is taped and sealed, except for this here. We're gonna leave this part alone because what this is going to be right here is actually when we decide to expand to another fiber, we have another one of these, but this has the end cap. So all we have to do is basically unscrew this, remove it, and then this would go on the back end, and then the new one would go in place, and they would tie in together. We have our hosing connected to our fan, and everything's running good. Now we were having a problem with the other laser. So when this is on, that over there, it loses suction. But if we were to close this off here on this end, or just say unplug this, but when this system is closed off, all of a sudden that's sucking smoke like nobody's business over there. So what I ended up doing, I figured, well, what's probably happening is that one is supporting this motor, so it's sucking way more air on this side versus the left side, and it's kind of bottlenecking a little bit, where it's weakening it. Because obviously when we plug this side up, then it's very strong over there on that side. So what I ended up doing is ordering another fan, to put it on the exit port of this big laser over here. And the goal there is to see if that fixes the problem and gets everything out of the machine while everything is running as whole. We did attach a Y at the top, so before I had a T. Let me take you over there. So our main hose comes out, goes up to an elbow, metal all the way down. And we added the elbow here, the 90. Before we had a T, just a regular T, straight through. And I assumed that this was the problem, but I don't think it was, because it's still doing the same thing. Either way, this gives me better flow having a Y now. So we put a Y here. So this comes up and over, again, metal tubing, metal ducting all the way, and then it Ys into the fan here. So we have great flow coming out of this system. Yesterday in testing this, we had some super strong flow, especially on the Thunder. You can feel it, you know, by the exhaust port in the inside. You can feel the suction there. This should be fine. So this comes in and curves in, but I think because we do have a very long run of hose, I mean, I'm gonna say, you know, between all this, that right there, all the way down, it's probably close to 20 feet. If I measure it, I know for a fact that that stretch there is about 5. So 10, probably 15 to 20 feet, close to it, maybe 18. So it would be a good idea to have a booster fan here, and we're gonna put a fan probably right about here somewhere. Probably right in there is where we're gonna put that fan. And that's gonna kind of help just push the air, you know, out and up. So that's what we're doing there. That's what we're gonna set up. We're waiting for that fan today. We ordered it yesterday on Amazon. It's a Han and Guan, same as the company that makes the Thunder setup there. But overall, I want all the fans to match because I want the same decibel levels throughout. Because I figured if I have 3 fans like that running, I can probably turn them all to 50% or 75%, and they'll be a little bit quieter. So if you've got 3 fans, you're pulling some great suction out of these machines. So I think we're going to be good to go, but that is how we've set up our galvanized piping for our exhaust system. We've got laser 1 up, capped up to laser 2. We've got the flow coming in. This will be future laser here, laser 2, as we've labeled here, laser 1, laser 2, and then it goes off to our fiber laser. But everything flows upward and to that fan and out. So that is how I'm doing the ducting. So that's where we're at. But the first thing I'm going to do is power up this Thunder. Now that this has been unboxed, we're going to have a video that's actually going to show the ins and outs of this machine, and then its operation, its internals, how it's all put together, the RF metal tube, what that looks like, and then from there we're going to power this thing up and we're going to create our first project. We've got a lot of hat patches that we've got to get to for LaserHyde.com, and we're going to get to them, but that is why it was critical that we kind of finished all this, because we needed this up and running. Hey, thanks for watching. My name is James. This is Essential Laser and Apparel. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss a video. And hey, tell all your friends about us. I think if they're in the laser and engraving business, they're going to want to know how to do a lot of the stuff that we're showing you. If you've gotten any type of benefit from it, then help them benefit as well. Peace out.